All right, we are on the record in state of Nevada, Jamie Hinman versus Sean Hinman. Case number is Butler County 15 DM 372. The DCF appears by and through Ms. Ridgway. Mr. Hinman appears in person and pro se. We were last here on April 21 of this year. At that time, the parties appeared as they do again today, and the matter was continued to today's date. Mr. Hinman had explained both at the April 21 hearing and in previous hearings that he did have some meaningful medical issues. The court sought to corroborate exactly what those were and to try to ascertain whether, if they at all affect Mr. Hinman's ability to work, or if they do, are there any restrictions within which he could work in spite of still working his way through those medical issues. I had set a date for submission of those documents of June 9, 2023. Ms. Ridgway, would you please update the court from the DCF perspective?
Yes, Your Honor. My office received an email from Mr. Hinman on May 24, 2023 that had documents attached to it. However, those documents were encrypted and we were unable to open them. We responded to him on that same day that he will need to find another way to send us those documents, as there was nothing there for us to look at.
Okay. I never received a response on that. And they're through HIPAA, so there's nothing I can do about that.
You can print them out and fax them to us. You can print them out and scan them. You can print them out and take pictures of them, but you can't just forward them.
I can go back to the doctor and get them printed for you. I think that I can get them a physical copy. Yes, absolutely. I think I can. I can go back to the doctor and do that, I believe. But that was the easiest way for me to do it when I went in. They said, do you want them in electronic? And that was the easiest thing for me to do. And the thing was, you have to go in and you have to put in a password and you have to give it to the medical professional. Because I went through and I read it, but I did not do that. That's all that has to be done. The medical professional has to put in a password and look at that information, and then they can actually physically see that.
Yes,
so that
which means I
can't. It's good for a month.
I don't have the password. I'm not a medical professional.
It has to be created by the person who is viewing the information.
Yeah, Your Honor, I'm not going to go to that extent to look at the medical documents he's trying to provide. I would request that he be required to provide them in an appropriate format so I can look at them.
Understood.
Mr. Hinman, have you been able to, from your perspective, ascertain whether there were any restrictions within which you could work, and have you, in that context, submitted any applications or made any payments or done anything else in furtherance of the payment of these support monies?
Yes, sir, I have both months, and I have been making applications. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what they are. And I had a doctor's appointment on the 30th of last month. And I've also had the paramedics called on me I did on Wednesday of this week. I don't know what restrictions are. I wasn't able to look at that information because I didn't put the password into that due to the fact that if I would have done that, I would have locked whoever out of that information. But I will go back to the doctor's office and get it printed out and have it sent to them. I guess I'll have to send it like in a big envelope. I don't know how much information it contains. I really and truly don't. And I don't know how much it is or how far back it goes. I really and truly don't know.
Mr. Hinman, I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Mr. Hinman, I don't need your entire medical record. What I need is something from your doctor saying that you're 100% incapable of working. And you just said you don't know what your limitations are. Have you not discussed this with your doctor? Has he not told you what you can and can't do?
It's a female, and I've been through this before many times that the doctor will not give me that information. It's because of the Hunter Health Clinic. It's for the I guess you could put it bluntly, it's for the medical health clinic is for the poor, and I guess they've had issues in the past with this occurring, and they don't do that. They refer you to a third party, and it's based on injuries for workers' comp and things like that. If that makes sense.
What
Actually,
you're
at
saying
this
is
point, it doesn't make sense.
no.
This does not make any sense at all. And I feel like your balance is amongst the biggest balances, perhaps the biggest balance in this court. I have sought to have a understanding point of view when you have explained that you have various medical issues. I have sought to be extremely deferential to give you an opportunity to explain to the court exactly how what you're going through is impacting your ability to work. That's really the only question, Mr.
Yeah.
Hinman. Can you work at all? And if so, what restrictions do you have? That's all we're talking about. And I feel like at this point, I am not satisfied that you are doing your best to try to noodle that thing through to an answer. And in actuality, I'm concerned that you're obfuscating the truth of what's happening. And I'm getting, at this point, low on patience. Now, I do appreciate that you at least sent this coded message to DCF, which may have had information in there that's relevant to this question, but it's a simple question. And the fact that you don't even know the answer to that question is completely mystifying to me. I mean, I don't understand how you can be going through this process with a doctor and it wouldn't be a normal part of that conversation. What am I supposed to do to try to get better? Well, you need to limit your work to 6 hours a day. You ought not to lift more than 20 pounds, whatever the case might be. Or you don't have any restrictions on working. I'm sorry that you're feeling poorly, and we hope in the fullness of time you'll get better. Here's some medication that should aid in that. But I feel like at this point, your level of interest in your own situation is so low as to be inexplicable. I don't understand. I do not understand how you could be in this position where you yourself aren't even curious enough to ask the question of your doctor, hey, what am I supposed to do to get better? I mean, that's the whole point of the exercise. And the whole point of the exercise here is to make certain that within whatever limitations you truly have, you are doing as much as you can to try to pay the support in this case. And I feel like I don't understand what kind of different perspective you're bringing to this question, but it feels like these are simple questions. And we've gone on now for years at this point, kind of back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and me telling you, I really need something to corroborate your circumstances. And then you're telling me at some point, no, I don't actually have any restrictions at this point. And then you're telling me afresh that, yeah, having to go to the doctor and I do have these problems, and me telling you I need something to corroborate what your circumstances are and whether you have any limitations. And you telling me, oh yeah, well, my appointment got moved. Now I have a different appointment. It's coming up, and us trying to set a hearing date beyond the next most current visit you have to your doctor. I'm tired of this. And I think you're tired of this too. Look, you have had very responsible, meaningful employment at earlier points in your career. I mean, from what I understood from your resume, you were in managerial positions with big companies and apparently doing well. And I feel like there's just so much sideways that's been going on here. I don't have good transportation. Okay, I'm trying to take that into account. And this whole inability to quantify what your medical circumstances are is, I don't think it makes any sense. And I don't know, and I suppose you've been having to walk some miles that are in some ways more difficult than any miles I've had to walk in terms of getting services where you could, and being bereft of much in the way of wherewithal to pay for alternative services. But we got to get a handle on this. Because you submitted the documents in code to DCF, I'm going to give you another chance to get those records. But you need to know for yourself, I mean, irrespective of what's happening in this case, if you were somehow miraculously or by some stroke of unexpected good luck able to zero the child support balance here, it would still seem to me appropriate that you would be curious about what's the best way forward for me to be healthy. And I feel like this whole situation is bereft of kind of basic curiosity about things that I would think would be kind of the top of the list for you in terms of what you would be worrying about. So I'm going to give you one more chance. Ms. Ridgway, I feel like when I had begun speaking, I may have cut you off. I apologize for that. If you had more you wanted to add or any suggestions about a date or any other conditions, I would be pleased to hear that.
No, Your Honor, I think I was just going to point out that in the entire history of this case, which began in 2015, he's paid a total of $230. This contempt has been pending since November of 2018. So we have made zero progress. I'm agreeable to continuance, but from DCF's point of view, if at the next hearing we haven't received actual medical proof of a total inability to work, I would like to proceed with the contempt finding at that time.
Mr. Hinman, I know that you have explained in times past with your transportation issues and having to sometimes apparently talk at some greater length about this. I'm going to give you a little bit of additional time to get those medical records forwarded to DCF, but really all they need, it can be one page from your doctor. Mr. Hinman is 100% unable to work, or Mr. Hinman is 80% disabled and he can work this many hours a day with these restrictions. It doesn't need to be a complete compendium of everything that's gone on with you medically, but it needs to answer that question. Do you understand what I'm saying, sir?
I do, sir. But at the same time, this is what was not asked. You asked me the last time to get my medical records, and that's exactly what I did. But unfortunately, through HIPAA, and that's what it was through, because of HIPAA, that's why these documents were encrypted. And that was explained to me when they were given. And when I gave the documents, they're encrypted. And if they have to enter in a password, that's not my fault. That's through HIPAA. And there's nothing I can do about that.
Well,
unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about that.
Well, apparently you had sent them on May 24th, which was ahead of the due date. I give you credit for that. But apparently they had emailed you back. You're saying you don't have recollection of that. They're saying that you
did not receive that. No, I did not.
Okay. Well, like I said, I find it surprising, even at this juncture, that we're this far apart on the understanding of what's necessary. But I will reiterate that I just need something explaining if your disability is 100% or whether you can work within restrictions. And if you could please provide a legible document along those lines as quickly as is practicable. I would appreciate it. I'm going to continue this to July 21, 2023 at 9 o'clock to have you do that. And I'd like you to submit anything you would like the court to consider by July 14.
Your Honor, I have jury duty on that day.
On the 21st?
Yes, sir. At 8:30, I believe. I don't know if I will be called or not, but I do have jury duty on that day. I just got the letter, I believe, yesterday.
Juries start on Friday?
No, I'm sorry, the 20, did you say the 21st, sir?
Correct.
I believe it was a Tuesday. I could be wrong. Never mind. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't believe it would be.
I think I could be wrong.
Friday,
it was a Tuesday. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well, and if you find that you are still
I could be wrong.
Well, if you're picked for a jury and you're going to be unavailable that day, that's understandable. Let us know that. But otherwise, we'll see you July 21 at 9 o'clock. And please make sure you have any document you'd like the court to consider submitted by the 14th. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Hinman.